We got a super thanks, again, to begin today's mailbag from Mighty Ants. What happened to No Forbes? Or what happened to No Forbes? This is about Emmanuel Forbes. Did mention it briefly on the videos at the back end of it, though, because it happened kind of late in the day. The Cowboys, after the Commanders cut him, did not claim Emmanuel Forbes. The Rams did instead. They didn't claim Israel Abanikanda. I would have liked to seen Dallas try more things at both those spots. Those are former talented players. Didn't go down the route. They like their guys, I guess. C.J. DeYoung III. Mike Stan. Watch. Hope not. I don't want him back. I think Mike got dealt a bad hand. I don't think he's been good enough, though. I'm not saying he's a bottom 5 NFL head coach. I don't think that he is, frankly. But it's just not good enough. Expectations are high. The bar is high. Yeah, the grass can always be greener. Doesn't really matter if your grass isn't green enough as it is. Right? These both came in via Super Thanks. It's featured here on YouTube. We got the Super Chat on the live shows. Super Thanks is the on-demand version. Edit your message. Send in whatever you want to send in. Simply click that thanks icon right now. We appreciate your support here at the Cowboys Report. Even if it's Tom, you suck, we will get your questions and answers on the show. Dallas Fanatic, more realistic target, Ben Johnson or Mike Vrabel? From a realistic-only perspective, I think it's easily Mike Vrabel. That's not if that's who I want. I would love to get Ben Johnson. I want the innovative young offensive coach who does a lot of fun stuff. Now, OCing and head coaching are different jobs, and sometimes a good coordinator is a bad head coach, and even vice versa sometimes. Like, Mike Vrabel's barely been a coordinator. It was 1 year, and it wasn't that good, but everyone loved the vibes of him, and it worked out pretty well for a little bit in Tennessee. I think Mike Vrabel checks off the box of former head coach. I think that the Jones boys want, has a relationship that's built in with Stephen Jones. You'd have to figure out the OC. That hire is almost just as important now as the head coach. But I think Mike Vrabel is much more realistic than Ben Johnson, especially if Ben Johnson's alleged $15 million demands are accurate. That's like triple what Mike McCarthy's making. And Jerry says money's no object, but that's not how he pays his coaches in years past. So who do you want as the next Cowboys head coach? Realistic or otherwise? Don't put Andy Reid, so I guess like somewhat realistic maybe. Who do you want as that head coach? The pinned comment on today's show. If that ad comes on YouTube, great. Take advantage of it. Head down there. Drop that coach's name. Zach Crosby, can you please explain to the mouth-breathing Dak haters why he had to be extended and that it was the best choice due to the penalty if he walked? I swear people think great QBs grow on trees. I will recap what I had said for months going into this offseason. You needed to make a decision. Your choices were let Dak walk, bottom out, be bad, and try to find the new quarterback. And you probably want to be aggressive, get a top 5 pick, top 3 pick, whatever, see what happens. You probably had missed that window because you didn't trade him or work on a trade when you had the opportunity and maximize the asset. Hell, I had even said you just should have cut him and moved on and truly tanked properly. Or you pay him and you try to win games now and do your reset later. If your argument is Dak's a good quarterback, he's top 10, I think with the way this roster is built, the way it's set up, the way they spend money, you got to find that rare top 5 guy. I think it's a fine argument, actually. If the argument is Dak's terrible, he's bad, you're just wrong. There's in-betweens in those conversations that I think are very valid and worth having. But he is a top 10 quarterback. As disappointing as it was, people have tried to claim he was playing the same way last year. He clearly wasn't. That was the issue for a good portion of the season. You get a better play caller in here, I think you're in a much better shape, which I see people argue, well, Mike can come back if he brings a new OC. Then why am I keeping Mike McCarthy then? That defeats the purpose of me. If you have an offensive coach who you don't trust to run your offense, that just means you don't trust the coach in the end. So if you want more from Dak this season, hell yeah, you're absolutely right. You think Dak is a bad quarterback, or as I keep seeing in the comments, he's trash? No, you're wrong. It's more in the middle, guys. Today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. It is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You simply pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. They added to the flex play, which means you can still cash out even if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. I'm doing the flex play on this little 3-man prize pick slate. CeeDee Lamb more than receiving yards. Sounds like he's going to go. Fingers crossed. More than Rico Dowdle rushing yards, and maybe Chase Brown will get going as well. I'm a little bit anxious about that one, but my boy Jack Lottery suggested it. He's been hot. I'm going to trust him. Go download the Prize Picks app over at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly when you play 5. You don't even need to win. The $50 bonus, it is guaranteed once you play your first $5 lineup. It's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS. Lenny V23. Cowboys need to draft Abdul from Penn State. Great way to boost your defense to the next level. 2 elite passers along with 2 elite corners. I don't disagree. I think you've got your eyes on a great prospect. That's Abdul Carter, who I think has had a really nice step forward the past couple weeks. My concern here is unless you can get top 7, and even then it might be more like top 5 with the way this class breaks down, I don't think you're going to be able to get Abdul Carter. The growth I've seen the back half of the season that I was hoping we were going to get, I think it's shown up on the film too. He's got 10 sacks now this season. Like he's really gotten going in all the ways you wanted him to get going. I just think with the way he's going to test, he's going to test so well. We know it. He's got 6 sacks in his past 5 games. Like I think he's going to go earlier than where you're going to be drafting in the end. From Chrissy Alshon, trade for Deebo in the offseason. No. Deebo hasn't looked very good. Have you guys noticed that? He looks kind of not the same player he was in his prime. Maybe it's just the injury. He's been a bit banged up as well. He might get cut in San Francisco. Now, if they cut him and he's cheap, we can have that conversation. But I don't want to trade for the contract involving Deebo at the moment. When it comes to the Cowboys offseason in general, what is your confidence level in Dallas having success and doing the things they need to do to be a competitor? Let me know in the comments section. 1 to 10 is your scale. Dwayne Jackson. Tom, is it helping or hurting the Cowboys if they want to get a top 10 pick if they keep winning? Well, if they keep winning, it's obviously hurting them. I think there is the ability to have a middle ground, which I know is not as much fun as the strong opinions one way or the other, of you don't want to get your ass kicked every single game and get embarrassed and lose everything and enter the offseason of we're just a bad team and there's no confidence and you kind of get some loser mentality built in there, right? Now, I also don't want to, in a wasted season where you're not going to do anything in plus, you're not going to make it anyway, win 9 games. I don't want to do that either because that hurts you long term. Find that middle ground. That's why in the end, just be a chill guy. Let things play out. Let's see how it goes. Steven, are there any former Cowboys that's not in the Hall of Fame that you think should be? Mine's Ed. I assume you mean Ed Too Tall Jones. Look, mine is Darren Woodson. I think I think it's a little bit ridiculous he's not in the Hall of Fame. I don't want to cite anybody else involved there. Ed had a great career for the Cowboys all those years ago. The 2 stints, I guess, he typically had there. I think he had a boxing career, if I want to. Either way, it doesn't matter. I think Darren Woodson needs to be in the Hall of Fame, and the sooner the better for him. I think it's overdue. Many names you can certainly put in there, though, too. Now, we got more Cowboys videos for you guys each and every single day here on the channel. Sub for more free Cowboys videos then. Tyler, I assume you mean Jalen Walker out of Georgia, the edge linebacker. Mason Graham, Michigan defensive tackle, and Boise State running back Ashton Genty are all there. Who do you draft? I would lean towards the DT since the running back class is very deep this year. I think you make an argument for all 3 guys. I do want to make that clear. Maybe it depends on how you approach free agency. If you spend big money or add players in one of those spots, maybe you don't go down that route. I'd probably give the slight edge. You guys aren't going to like it to Mason Graham. Premium position, and I think also a very premium player, just like Genty is. Probably have Genty hit a Walker on my final board, by the way, so I'd probably go Graham, Genty, Walker. different players, obviously, all good picks. I wouldn't be mad at either of those guys, unless you're picking like 3, maybe a different competition of who you're picking there. But if you're picking like where you're at 13, those guys are there. I don't see a bad pick there. From Harry, we need to keep feeding Dowdle against this Bengals defense. Get the ball in Turpin's hands when they can, because let's be honest, the guy's a big play waiting to happen. Hope they keep feeding Rico Dowdle. This Bengals defense is bad. They are very bad. This is a defense that allowed 270-plus yards after the catch by the Pittsburgh Steelers last week. That is the most of any NFL team this season. So the Cowboys' plan of runs with Rico, short, quick passing game, actually could work pretty well against Cincinnati. From Randall, I think Dak was trying to be nice to McCarthy with his comments. I assume you mean the stuff about on his own terms and whatnot. Not a bad theory. Couple different theories, taking a shot at Jerry Jones a little bit there. I don't disagree. I could also see a Pontius Pilate scenario where Dak knows how this is going and he makes it clear that this is not my decision. I am the quarterback. I like Mike. I'm not, because there has been, and there is for a lot of players and coaches, there's been some friction at times between the quarterback and head coach. I mean, you had Dak and Lamb and others go to Mike in the bye last week and get him to change the offense a little bit, and it worked. I think it's in a better spot than it was at points. There was the comment made by McCarthy last year where he's like, yeah, we sat down and watched all the interceptions, went through them, and then Dak was kind of like, yeah, that's how the conversation went because they'll never admit it publicly. But those interceptions from that year were not on the quarterback, and they were on players who were still on the roster, and they want to throw them under the bus and issues at times there. I don't mind that theory. Dak plays the Game of Thrones that you have to play in the Cowboys organization pretty decently. I could very much see I know how this is going. I'm going to take the high road beat and try to offer some support for Mike. So what is the percent chance, just in general, I think the answer is low still, that you think Mike McCarthy is back in 2025? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. No snafus from, I don't know why I said from, just hashtag Cowboys. Or there's a growing number of CFB coaches getting sick of the NIL and transfer portal games. Which CFB coach would like to see the Cowboys interview? Dan Lanning? Here's my issue. A lot of these college coaches make more than NFL head coaches, which is like, okay, what are we doing? A lot of the best college coaches are good college coaches because they play the NIL and transfer portal game properly. The game has changed in college football. It used to be the best coaches, like Nick Saban, for example, they knew how to adjust and ebb and flow and stay up to date in the times with the X's and O's. Think about how much Nick Saban changed his offenses in college, or changed his offense college football from that ground and pound, joyless murder ball stuff for you, Chris, to like Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian aerial attacks. The game has changed now, not just with staying updated with the X's and O's, but also with how you recruit, coach, and manage the Jimmies and Joes too. I think Dan Lanning does a great job. I think Lanning could be a great college or a great NFL head coach. But like Brian Kelly going to complain about the NIL game when he did that to go to LSU. I don't want him as my NFL head coach. There aren't that many very appealing college football candidates I think makes sense to the NFL. I don't think I don't think there's very many options that I'm intrigued by there. TKG, not a Cowboys question, but who is your Super Bowl matchup you want and think? Mine is Bills-Lions. I think Bills-Lions is fun. I think the Chiefs' voodoo magic will never die, so I'm worried about that one. Not the Niners, not the Packers. I guess Lions in the NFC isn't a bad thing, but I don't have any firm opinions either way or the other there. Dwayne Jackson. Tom, do you think Lance will get at least one start by season's end? I will change my mind if they beat the Bengals. I think yes. I think even if it's just week 18, I think you see Trey Lance get a start this season.